Tony DeFrank back with the July 2024 edition of Covering Classic Cars. And I'm here with our catalog host and actually a car owner, Max Gilmore, Chris Ashton. So thank you so much for being with us. Chris has done this before, back in 2021, and I'm glad we could connect with Max, a great customer of ours down here in Orange County. So, how to start this the best? Well, we'll talk about the car. So Chris, Ruffian cars, build these crazy muscle cars, like track style design. Tell us about the Ford Galaxie, and because the paint catches your eye, but I know there's a lot going on underneath.
Right. Yeah, so it's a 64 Galaxie 500. I started it before I had the shop, but then I hired on some people and had a bunch of help, and thankfully I did, because we put it was like roughly 6,000, 7,000 hours into the build, so just a ton of man hours in it. It's fully custom. The only thing that's really Galaxie now is the sheet metal on the outside, and even that's quite a bit modified. It's on a full race chassis, so it's made to go to big tracks like Laguna Seca and stuff like that, and be quite fast on there. So,
and how many horsepower does it have?
700 horsepower. Okay. So it's a 427 block, like FE style, Ford big block, which is what they used to run back in the day. So a lot of what I get excited about is vintage racing, and these old Galaxies that used to race in Europe is what kind of inspired this build. There's something cool about taking that big family sedan, that's way too big to be a race car, and then making it a race car.
Yeah. Well, our families we're NHRA drag racers, so when I think of a Fairlane or Galaxie 500, I think of A stop automatic, B stop automatic drag car.
Right.
But you built this thing to be a track car.
Yeah.
So it's wild. So all the custom details inside, it's much more like beyond like my brain. I'm not smart enough to understand what's going on. I just know that it looks really cool.
Right
But tell us about like all the fabrication work. Now, when we met you did a lot of that stuff in your garage. So now you're doing it at your shop.
Yeah. So I just have it's more space, and then I also have help, like I say, but still doing things in a similar way. So all the sheet metal work, the body's all sheet metal, and that's all done by hand on a planishing hammer and English wheel. It's all custom fabricated. And then for the paint stuff, I got inspired by a battleship paint job.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of was fitting. This car's so huge. It's like we joked that it's a boat of a car, but then we're going to go to the racetrack and race and compete. And so it was like, well, it's kind of our battleship. So that's where the camouflage paint scheme came from. And then got it painted here.
As I say, and that's how it kind of came in here, that we're here at Auto Addiction and Max's company.
Mm-hmm.
And, in Southern California, we never have enough garage space. So there's a lot of places that do car storage. But you come here, and there's an event venue, and we're in this really cool lobby that's kind of looks like a high-end retail store at a mall. This place is beautiful.
Thank you.
Car storage. But then it's like restoration,
mechanical, upholstery,
paint shop. I said, I thought you did upholstery. So you do a little of everything. So someone can bring in the car in here, have it stored, but also, oh, by the way, can you make it look new?
Yeah, we wanted to be a one-stop. So we wanted to be able to offer services to the people that store here, but we also wanted to be open for the public to enjoy it as an event space. Even if you don't have a car here, or if you just need upholstery or mechanical or paint, you don't have to have a car here to do that.
You can enjoy it, so now you can be a member.
Exactly.
You just come and hang out just because you love cars. So I think, and I appreciate you working with us. I think last night you had an event for one of your customers.
Yeah.
We're here kind of ruining your weekend, hanging out
it's good.
today.
It's super good.
And you do these like cars and cocktail events like once a month. So you're really kind of promoting the hobby to everyone and letting people know everything that you do here.
Yeah, we want people to be involved in the hobby, all generations, and it's really exciting to see new people come in that are excited about cars.
Yeah,
we get such a good variety through the building that there's a little bit of something for everybody.
There is something for everyone, and really, we're colleague Connor that helps us out. He was so excited there was that many Lincolns and Mercuries all lined up in a row. But then I feel like there's like a row of Porsches in here, and then there's classics. There's a little of everything. And I just want to touch on a lot of stuff that Auto Addiction does. So last year, Chris, you bought 2 cars, the SEMA, which I think one takes a few years off people's lives.
Right.
And it makes you go gray. But you decided to take two. So, like, how did, I know you do a lot of the fab work, you're doing the paint and body. Like, what was, like, last year like to get two cars at SEMA? SEMA quality builds, like, just
Yeah.
a big display for Ruffian.
It was rough on, I think, both of us and our teams.
It was a mission for sure.
But it was also a dream come true. You know, I think I've had cars at SEMA before, but they were in other people's booths, and so this was for us. Now that I have an actual business and we're doing it for real, it was a coming out party. You know, it was trying to announce to everybody that Ruffian cars was a real thing and that we were doing it, and then here's two examples, right? And also, I wanted the two cars to be different. I was worried that if we only went with the Galaxie, that people would think it was all very hardcore race car stuff, whereas the 67 Mustang that we brought is street car first. You know, it's comfortable and it's easy to drive, and it's, although they have the race car looks and they're inspired by vintage racing, the Galaxie's race car first and the 67 Mustang is street car first. So I really wanted to show the versatility between the two cars, but then make sure that, like, visually, graphically, that they both were of the same family, you know. So they do share, like, yellow stripes, and the yellow is the same paint color and stuff, and that's where, you know, I was working really close with Max on it, and we knew it was going to be, as SEMA does, we knew it was going to come down to the wire, you know, so we were trying to...
Yeah, we planned actually before I moved in here, that once I got in here, that I would take small jobs because I knew they were coming, and everything was going to have to stop for those cars, so...
Yeah. And what was the color, I guess, what's really unique about the Galaxie is the color choices. Now, was that and Max, was like a team effort, because you have the Battleship, the white and the gray, and then has the light blue paint interior, but then you run the yellow from the front through the interior to the rear, all the way to the back to the back of the vehicle, but you keep it constant throughout.
Right. So. Yeah. Primarily, I'll come up with a concept in the computer. I like to push colors around and stuff and come up with something that I'm happy with on the computer. But that's on a screen, and then you've got to, and you're going to spend a lot of money, and a lot of, you know, materials are expensive and stuff, and so you really got to make sure that you're happy with it and ready to go. So Max always does spray outs for me, and the cool thing about Max is he also has an artist eye, and so, you know, I will always ask his opinion of things, and he'll help me pick colors, like what do you think about it? Do you think this, especially with whites, there's a million different
so many whites, yeah.
So, and we had to find, with this car, we had to find a white with the right amount of contrast with the gray. You know, we didn't want it to be too much because it would get really distracting, but it had to be enough, and it had to go with the blue and the yellow. So, you know, it's nice to get those actual spray outs and put them next to each other and take them outside and bring them indoors and kind of try to get all the different ways you're going to see them.
How many metal panels do you have to spray, and how many different color whites were you like lining out?
We did more on the green and on the Mustang than we did on the Galaxie.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'd probably have Max do 15 panels.
Right, because it could be warm, it could be cool,
Yeah.
and then they would have it next to the gray, and then you got to make sure it all works.
And it's got to be metal so that you see what they're going to really look like on the car, not just a paper one. It has to have that same feel of what these colors are going to look like, with the same shine, and really get a true sense.
Well, you definitely have an eye for it, because
Thank you.
there's, and we'll get some shots around the place, because the lobby's cool, your office is super cool.
Thank you.
I didn't even get to the event space, but I'll just assume that's it's really cool too.
We'll show you.
But, so what was the inspiration to get Auto Addiction like this, and not just have you could have just like a big warehouse space,
Right.
and just be able to store cars. So how did you kind of go from that, take, I guess, your previous employment and then just grow it?
Well, I had a paint and body shop for 20 years, and I did a lot of custom work, but we did collision work as well, but I always just had a heart for the classic stuff and the custom. But it was never a destination space. I mean, it was a body shop. No matter what I did, it was still a body shop. And I really wanted something that was a destination for people to come to. And I always liked the idea of car storage. I have a friend that owns a big car storage up here, and I just wanted it to be kind of next level. that we could offer things that most car storage facilities don't. And this just kind of morphed into something even bigger than I planned on it doing. After we moved in, it was kind of one of those, we can do this and we can do this, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. So it's kind of still doing that now. So
And I'd say, well, it seems like it was walking through the warehouse space. See the car storage business. It's pretty full.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cars in there. And then I guess what's next for auto addiction? What's the next?
we're hoping to do
Progression.
lifts next. So
Okay.
we would triple stack them down the walls is the plan. So open up some floor space that way. We have a lot of customers that live out of state,
Mhm.
don't use their cars all that often, or have big collections where they have more than they'll ever drive. Some that are just for storage, and get those up off the floor and onto the walls so they're just not in the way and they're safe and protected. So
Awesome. Yeah, because that's the one thing I'd say you definitely need to space. Because yeah, with your repair, restoration, you got your paint booth. Like
Right.
you definitely need more space to do even more.
Sure.
But it's an incredible place, and
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for when we reach out to you that you want to participate. We
Glad to
appreciate
have
that. And Chris, thanks for spending the time and driving the Galaxy over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't. I'm not sure. I forgot how far you're living from here, but you didn't trailer here. You drove that thing here, which is
that's the beauty, though. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I that for me is the most exciting part. Like I do love the building process, but I really enjoy driving the cars. So it's got to be, even though it's very race car, it still has to work on the street and it still has to be fun on a Saturday.
yeah. I appreciate that. And so I know. Yeah, my understanding is nothing for SEMA 24, but you're working on some other big projects coming up. You talk about some of those, or is that hush hush because of SEMA 25?
I
guess?
have. I've talked about one of them. We've got a '69 Mustang that we're working on right now. That's the furthest along, so that's the first one that'll come here to get painted. And it's inspired by NASCAR, but it's a blend of old and new NASCAR. Whereas new is very modern and high tech, but obviously it's a '69 Mustang, so it's got its roots in the vintage stuff. So.
It's exciting. It's going to be a really cool car.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. I'm sure. It'll be whatever you guys. It seems like you guys have a fantastic partnership and design and paint and fabricate everything. So I'm sure it's going to be up to the level that we're expecting from Ruffian and Auto Addiction team. So I really appreciate letting our customers hear more about it. They're going to be excited about seeing the catalog come July. So yeah, thanks for sitting down with me. I'll let you guys get back to your weekends. Okay.
Great. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Right on.
So, and that's it with covering classic cars for July. So we'll see you next time. And yeah, thanks for taking a few minutes with us.